There we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the birthday wishes as well. It's very nice, a bit embarrassing. But as Sharon said, I'm Ali from Tourism Australia. So I'm just going to go through really quickly a bit of an itinerary in Oz and also some of our key highlights. If you guys joined last week's Parter quiz, you would have seen we did a bit of a more of a itinerary of kind of familiar icons of Australia. So today I'm just going to take you through some of the regions that are a bit lesser known. And if you didn't get a chance to watch last week's, I think Sharon said the recording should be available so you can catch up on there. And then we've got a couple of Aussie suppliers after this, so you can delve a bit deeper into some of those regions that I mentioned last week. So I've included some of my own pictures and some pictures from our recent fam trips last year, just to show you how easy it is just to get some epic shots of Australia. It's pretty easy when you've got such stunning scenery to start with. So some of the highlights that you can expect really with any itinerary in Australia are things like your classic Aussie wildlife. So that's obviously unique to Australia. So over 80% of Australian wildlife can't be found anywhere else in the world. So it's a real distinguishing feature of our country. Then there's the coastal region. So we've got miles and miles of pristine beaches and not many people. So it's not unusual to be the only person on the beach. And of course the reefs as well. So the Great Barrier Reef, and we've also got over 8,000 islands within our maritime borders. Food and wine, so it's a great spot for foodies as well. It's not always something that people expect when they think of Australia, but for repeat visitors, it always ranks at the top. So basically, once you get out there, you realise how red hot our food and wine is. Aboriginal culture, of course. So this is actually the oldest continuing culture in the world, the Indigenous culture of Australia. And it's a really special experience, and it's a great way to really get to know the Australian culture, the history, and really connect to the country and understand what it means to Aboriginal people. And of course, friendly locals. This is a picture from one of our fam trips last year with the lovely Chris Hemsworth. So I can't guarantee you'll run into him, but Aussies are quite well known for their friendly and welcoming attitude, and it is a real defining feature of the country as well, that kind of laid back lifestyle. And what we say is there's 25 million people in Australia, so 25 million mates waiting to say g'day when you get down there. And of course, great weather. This is one of my photos that I took from where I'm from in North Queensland, and those drinks look delicious right now, so does the weather. But no matter what time of year you go to Australia, it's always hot somewhere. So we've got two different climate zones. So yeah, like I said, whether it's winter in Australia or summer, it's going to be lovely weather, at least somewhere in the country. All right, I'll see if this video works. If it doesn't, I'll just pause it and I can send you the link, but let's just see how we go.
These are the reason I get up every day, yes. Just like little children need their mum, you know, or dad, you know. Someone there to pick them up. When it's time to go back to bed, it's just a little somersault. He also gets a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pouch. I wanted people to come here and experience my life, what it's like to be a kangaroo mum. When you first come to the sanctuary and hop off the bus, the first thing you see is a little baby kangaroo in a pillowcase. A lot of people just fall in love with it. So we raise all our orphans up and prepare them to go back to the wild. Come out here, we'll feed some big babies. Abigail is our oldest kangaroo, and she just loves to have a good cuddle. I think what makes Australian people so special is you sort of feel confident you can say good day to someone, say hello to someone, and they'll say it back. And you don't find that everywhere else in the world. Sometimes you got to take a step back and just, you know, chill out a bit, mate. Take it easy.
They're just so cute. It's just a great way to show kind of those amazing like open spaces that you get in Australia, as well as that kind of laid back outback lifestyle, as you can see. I'll just launch one of the polls now. I think I had a question about that video. Sorry.
These are the reason I get up every day, yeah.
Okay, did everyone answer that? Yep, the poll came up, Sharon. I think, did everyone else answer that? It's a bit of a hard question. Anyway, okay, we'll go. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's correct, actually. So he said what he loved about Australia was that you can feel confident to say g'day to someone and know that they'll say g'day back, which is something that I really love about Australia as well. Okay, so we're gonna quickly run through a quick itinerary. We're gonna start in Western Australia and go to Perth, and then over to South Australia, and then Victoria and Melbourne in Victoria. Okay, so let's just first of all figure out how we're getting there. So you're looking at 22 hours, including stopover, to get to the east coast of Australia. And we've got a direct flight to get to Perth, so 17 hours direct from London to Perth. There's some great stopover options along the way as well. All those, Singapore is actually a great one. So all those amazing experiences you just heard from Lisa in Singapore, that's a great option because there's a few airlines that have their hub in Singapore. So there's some really good ones to kind of break up the journey if any of your customers are concerned about flying long haul. But we do have that direct flight now, which is just unreal. I've done it a few times and it is really great just to get down there and get, you know, into the time zone straight away. Obviously our borders aren't open at the moment, but you know, rest assured when it does open up, I'm sure that the flight capacities and the frequency of the flights will go back to how they were before, which was several airlines flying down to Australia with multiple departures per day. Okay, so today we're going to fly into Western Australia. So we're going to do a direct flight into Perth and spend the first 1 to 4 days in Perth. So, you know, it's recommended to get out there into the sunshine and kind of spend, you know, as long as you can outdoors to kind of wear off that jet lag and get used to the new time zone. Perth itself is a great kind of vibrant city and there's lots to do in and around Perth. So whether it is kind of day trips, or just, you know, hanging out in the city or at the beach. So Swan Valley is a wine region that's just 20 minutes from Perth city centre. So I'll just show you some, you know, photos that me and some of my agents took. So you can imagine like wildlife in the vineyards and incredible food and wine. Cottesloe Beach is also just 20 minutes out of the centre of the city, which is, you know, cafe culture, restaurants, and obviously amazing beaches. Kings Park is an inner city park. It's actually bigger than Central Park in New York, so it's massive, and it's got just amazing views of the city. And, you know, we're all into picnics nowadays, so great spot to have a little picnic, really family friendly as well. And of course, then there's Rottnest Island where you can get your quokka selfie. These are a few of the celebs doing their quokka selfies. But it's just 45-minute ferry from Perth, car-free island with incredible beaches, and of course, these little marsupials who are a bit Insta famous for taking selfies with. After Western Australia, we're going to fly over to, oh, hang on, sorry, I've got a question. Next one. This one I think is very easy and I'm sure you guys will get it straight away. What is the name of WA's most photogenic animal? Correct. It's the quokka, of course. There's the little faces there in the image. All right, flying over now to South Australia. You're looking at about a 3-hour flight domestic. The capital. So imagine we're spending the next 5 to 7 days in and around South Australia. South Australia is really well known for its wineries. So 60% of our wine in Australia actually comes from South Australia. So 20 cellar doors within an hour's drive. And it's not just wine tasting. You can blend your own wine or, you know, do cooking classes or all types of different interactive experiences. Adelaide Central Market is a great foodie haven. You know, loads of local produce as well as great seafood, amazing homemade cheeses and meats as well. Adelaide Oval, it's a real significant spot in Australia for Australian sporting culture. And then, of course, there's Kangaroo Island, which is just amazing for wildlife and beaches. These are literally pictures that I took on my Crabtree Famil last year. And they're like, I was surprised at how much wildlife we saw when we were over there. So yeah, great stuff. Just 30 minutes flight from Adelaide or 2-hour coach and 45-minute ferry to get over there. All right, I've only got a couple minutes left, so I'm just going to move on to, next question is, how many wine regions are there to choose from in Australia? So this is Australia as a whole. Tough question. Very close. So it is actually 65 wine regions. So that's all across the country, 65 wine regions producing top quality wine, in Australia. Okay, now moving on to Victoria. So we're just going to fly from South Australia to Melbourne. Oh, sorry, that was just a reminder of where we are. So we're going across the country, as you can see. This is a great self-driving route actually from Adelaide to Melbourne. You can go along the Great Ocean Road there. So we're spending our next 8 to 12 days in and around Melbourne. So experiencing that cafe hole-in-the-wall culture and the graffiti laneways in Melbourne, in the Melbourne city centre. And then, of course, Phillip Island, which is famous for its little fairy penguins. That's only an hour and a half from Melbourne. So again, a great self-driving spot because you can easily drive there just for the day, check out, you know, the penguins and the wildlife, and then drive back to Melbourne. Yarra Valley is a wine region really close to Melbourne city centre. And of course, there's a Great Ocean Road, but it is recommended to spend at least a couple of days exploring the Great Ocean Road because there's just so much to see and do along the drive. Okay. And then I just wanted to touch on, if you did have time, of course, Tasmania is a real emerging popular destination at the moment. And I think post-COVID, people will be kind of searching for that great outdoors, open spaces type holidays and experiences. And Tasmania does tick a lot of those boxes in terms of wilderness, you know, stunning scenery, as well as walking trails. So they've got some really good multi-day walking trails. And also they've been measured as having like the purest air in the world. So imagine like clean, pure, and just like green destination, which is Tassie. So I've just got a question about Tasmania, I think. I need to remember what questions I put in here. Which of the following is true about Tasmania? So it's a bit of general knowledge. 20% of the state is untouched wilderness, World Heritage Area, similar size to Ireland. Its air is measured to be the cleanest in the world, or all of the above. Nice work for most of you. It is all of the above. So 20% of the state is actually untouched wilderness. And it is similar in size to Ireland, so it is bigger than people think, and the cleanest air in the world. Really quickly, I'm just going to show you guys how you can find itineraries such as that on our Aussie Specialist program, which is our online training platform. Super easy. So you guys just sign in, and if you go to sales sources, resources, itinerary suggestions, you can filter it down by duration, experiences, and location. So that gives you some options. You can save them as well as PDFs or in your favorites, so that when you do get your next Aussie inquiry, you've got them at hand just to pull out when you need them. Oh, and we are doing an incentive at the moment. If you guys sign up, if you're not qualified yet, jump on there. We're giving away some Amazon gift vouchers, as well as we've got little entertainment packs with Aussie playing cards and Australian map puzzles as well. So if you sign up before the end of June, you'll go in the draw to win some of these goodies that we're giving away. I don't know if I can't remember if I have any questions left, sorry, but that's me. And then Sharon, if I've got more questions, we'll pull them up. Okay, what can you win if you qualify as an Aussie specialist before the 30th of June? Was it a £10 voucher, 20, 50, or was it a bottle of wine? Correct, guys. So it was a £50 Amazon voucher. So jump on there if you haven't already, and you can go in the draw to win that one. There's my details there, and I can put a link to that in the chat as well if you guys need anything at all.